Good evening. Let's get started. We're now calling to order the regular meeting of the Elk Grove Unified School Board. Sorry, you threw me off.
I just want to get him to still talk.
I know we're all excited to be here, but if you could find your way to a seat, I'd appreciate it. So I'm calling to order this meeting, announcing that the board met in closed session to address items 1 through 4 on the closed session portion of our agenda. And during that closed session, the board took action by a unanimous vote of all of those present to place a certificated employee on a mandatory sick leave pursuant to Education Code Section 44942. And I'd like to also announce that today's meeting is being video recorded and will be available on the district's YouTube channel. Lastly, there are blue cards such as these available at the table just outside of the boardroom for anyone who wishes to address the board. If you wish to address the board, complete a blue card and hand it to the staff member at the table to our right. Please be sure to complete the card indicating whether the matter you wish to address is on the agenda or not on the agenda. If the matter is on the agenda, we will assume you wish to speak when it comes time to address that item, and we'll hold your card until then. Our first item is always the Pledge of Allegiance, in which we honor one of our district partners. I'd like to call up Mr. Joe Gardino from Dillard Elementary, and I believe he is with his wife Shelley Gardino and Sandra Weiss, principal at Dillard Elementary. Please come on up. And my colleague Beth Albiani will be, you can stand in front of the podium there, yeah, right in front of the mic. And my colleague Beth Albiani is going to be telling the good folks present here some information about you.
Hi, good evening. CW Dillard Elementary School is honored to recognize Mr. Joe Gardino as our education partner. Mr. Gardino and his wife Shelley are parents of 2 Dillard pioneers. Gianna is in 4th grade and Liliana is in 2nd grade. Mr. Gardino and Shelley have been active and supportive Dillard parents since Gianna entered kindergarten in 2013. From that first month, he and Shelley have been integral volunteers both in the classroom and school-wide. After several years actively supporting our PTO, 2 years ago, Joe was elected PTO president and commits long hours at the school making sure all facets of the organization run well. He supports our parents, students, and staff in countless ways, whether that is coordinating movie nights, creating games and a haunted house for our carnival, volunteering at each and every school event, manning the Dillard Trading Post, chaperoning his daughter's field trips, or barbecuing for the end of the year class celebrations. Not only does Mr. Gardino dedicate his time to our school, but he also actively serves the communities of Wilton and Elk Grove. He is an engineer and paramedic with the Consumnes Fire Department and serves on the Wilton Fire Board. He supports our high school students through his work in Elk Grove with the Every 15 Minutes program. No matter what the need, Joe is always there, dedicated to his family, school, neighbors, and community. Mr. Gardino's impact goes far beyond his list of accomplishments. Dillard, as a community, is deeply grateful for Mr. Gardino's day-to-day presence and commitment to our work and our children. Thank you very much for all you do. I have a small present for you, and we'll take a picture. Would you like to speak? You're welcome to.
Any comments?
Yeah, I'll take an opportunity. I'd like to address the board, first of all. I want to thank you guys. I'm proud to be a partner of the Elk Grove Unified School District. With a district this size, I can't even begin to fathom what it takes to strive so hard to do so much for so many people. And you guys do a very good job of that. I know it's a difficult task, and I just want you to know that it's appreciated as my children navigate the school system here. I'm proud of the district that they attend, and it inspires me. Furthermore, I mean, I've found that when people are willing to step up and do good things, it's usually because they're inspired by something or someone. And I'd be absolutely remiss if I didn't mention that Miss Weiss and the entire staff at Dillard Miller, who's here tonight, third grade teacher there. The entire staff there is special. Uh, they inspire me to do what I do. I mean, they work so hard on behalf of these kids. They work so hard to enrich their lives. It simply is inspiring to me, and that's what motivates myself. Uh, and last but not least, I've got to mention my wife and my kids, who, without their absolute support, I simply couldn't do what I do. Uh, Shelly doesn't just support me, she's right there alongside me, doing just as much as I do, oftentimes in the background, and I can't thank her enough for the support, and my kids for their understanding when I'm busy working on things like carnival games, and they prefer I be inside playing with them, but they support me anyhow. So I'm just proud to be a member of this district in the capacity that I am. I thank you guys.
Thank you, Mr. Gardino.
Thank you very much. You want to go ahead and lead us in the flag salute?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Thank you, and don't leave. Don't leave. Miss Albiani's headed down there. She's got a small token of our appreciation. Thank you very much. Let's give Mr. Gardino one more hand of applause. Next up on our agenda are the presentations and recognitions. Excuse me, the first item there is the high school student representative reports. And tonight we have our students from Pleasant Grove and Sheldon High Schools. Let's start with Pleasant Grove. Please come on up.
Superintendent Hoffman, members of the board, and Ms. Alvarez. My name is Amanda Pangelina.
And my name is Abi Shanku.
We are from Pleasant Grove High School, and we are honored to be here tonight.
Pleasant Grove's 2017-2018 school year has been off to an enthusiastic start. This year, our ASB program has continued to thrive as we welcome many new students that have had an immense impact on the year so far. This year, we added on more fresh spirit into the ASB class, and they've proven ready to help and fill in wherever they can. We proudly recognize our school's early academic and athletic achievements along with upcoming events. Link Crew has started off the year putting in hours before school to prepare the numerous incoming freshmen for their high school experience. Our seniors started their first day of school with a senior sunrise, where they had the opportunity to catch up with friends, win raffle prizes such as yearbooks and dance and Disneyland tickets, eat some awesome donuts, and watch the sun come up as they started their final year together.
We got our staff excited for the start of the new year with our annual staff rally before the start of school, where staff was able to team build during the Steal the Bacon game, crawl around in sleeping bags, and race against students with food-themed relay challenges. And though it was unfortunate that we had to postpone our annual Welcome Back rally, it was very exciting to have it on the same day as our first home football game. During our rally, students competed against each other in food-related games like stacking Oreos on your forehead, licking peanut butter off a glass pane, and racing to find a stick of gum in a pile of whipped cream. My highlight was hearing the roar of the crowd during Spirit Stick and watching our students fill with excitement to start our school year.
Within the first weeks of the school's senior parent information night and back-to-school night also occurred. This allowed our parents to gain information about the upcoming year and learn about what happens on campus. In addition, we rewarded our students for getting excellent grades and maintaining them with our Renaissance coupons. Our seniors loved a day off of class and a day to grow closer to their own senior class on our senior barbecue. Hosted by motivational speaker Keith Hawkins, the day set a positive start to their final year together.
Our athletes had a great fall athletic season. Our football team has been truly fighting this year. The student cheering section, better known as the flock, showed up in full force this past games, with many students even making the drive out to our away games to support our Eagles. And our girls volleyball team continued to roll. Last Thursday, we defeated the number 2 seed team, Oak Ridge, 3-2. Tonight, we play a semifinal game against Turlock. If we win, we play for the Division I section championship on Saturday. Regardless of tonight's match, we qualify for NorCals and will continue to play next week. The rest of our sports, including women's tennis, women's golf, and cross country, have put up great battles in their divisions and had awesome seasons.
Our Unity Day has consistently been an inspiring day where students are able to open up and realize the similarities they possess with others. This day consists of small and big group activities along with individual reflection. We had a great turnout of students, and it was special to see so many people open up about their feelings on bullying in their everyday lives.
We wrapped up our fall homecoming on October 21st. The theme of this year was board games. The seniors were Candyland, the juniors were Monopoly, sophomores were Clue, and freshmen were Hungry Hungry Hippos. After many hours of float construction, all 4 floats turned out to be great representations of all the hard work put into each and every one. We added a 5th float this year with a theme of Connect 4, which connects all of the 4 classes connecting as one. The week was filled with spirit days ranging from Workout Wednesday to Flock Friday to support our football team, lunchtime activities, and excitement for our fall homecoming rally. A highlight of the lunchtime activities was the fashion show, which showcased examples for Spirit Week, which influenced a great turnout of spirit we saw that week. All sports teams, along with Powder Pup, participated in the annual homecoming parade, where we debuted the floats and spirit trucks filled with our loud eagles. Our rally once again had the loudest school spirit ever and amazing performances from our cheer team and our dance team Soul Purpose, along with revealing our royalty court. The excitement from both the rally and parade prepared our students for the homecoming game against Davis High School, which was a great display of our team's potential. We excitedly won with the final score of 57-56 during overtime.
The start of the year has been outstanding, and we hope to carry on enthusiasm into another incredible year at Pleasant Grove. President Orsina, Superintendent Hoffman, Ms. Avalos, and members of the board, thank you for your time, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you very much. Next up, let's have our student representatives from Sheldon High School.
Good evening, President Fortuna, members of the board, Superintendent Hoffman, and Ms. Avalos. My name is Thomas Lee, and I'm the current ASB President of Sheldon High School.
And my name is Priscilla Nguyen, the current ASB Vice President of Sheldon High School.
Our year began with a positive outlook towards the 2017-18 school year. We started off with our Team Husky mentors coming in on August 3rd and 4th to prepare for our annual freshman orientation, which took place on Saturday, August 5th. Here, the class of 2021 was introduced to a glimpse of high school. They met with their Team Husky mentor and enjoyed an exciting day filled with fun activities that helped the incoming freshmen ease into this new, sometimes rumored scary, place called high school. The purpose of this program is to help our new students transition smoothly from middle school to high school by having weekly meetings, and also to increase their confidence level and make them realize that anything is achievable with the right way.
Later in the week, we had our first day of school rally on August 10th. It was filled with many activities and motivational talks in order to get the ball rolling onto our new, slightly nerve-wracking school year. Not only was that the only event that week, but we also held our annual senior sunrise on August 11th. They woke up an hour early to come break the ice with the class they'll be graduating with within a few months. They started the day off with yummy pancakes, freshly cut fruit, and ice-cold orange juice. This event began the road of their last year of high school, and it set the mood for the last bit of teenage life in high school before they move on with their amazing future they have in the future.
The year continued with many more amazing events, such as our first Renaissance Barbecue, which celebrated students with a GPA of 3.0 or higher in Term 4 of last year. There was another amazing senior event, Senior Barbecue, and finally Club Rush, which allowed students to explore and join the 47 clubs we offer on campus.
As September rolled around the corner, we started our homecoming week. With flow construction leading up to our homecoming parade, the parade was followed up with our homecoming football game against Monterey Trail. The following day, we celebrated the homecoming dance with our spirits held high as we danced the night away.
The following weeks of school didn't lose any excitement. In the early weeks of October, we held our first major community event, the Community Carnival, where all of Sheldon High School's community was invited. The evening was full of games, inflatables, music, Sheldon's own club performances, and of course, food. The attendance was unbelievably high and full of energy. Even though it only lasted 3 hours, the crowd was too satisfied to leave.
Now on to sports. Our Sheldon Huskies football team were ranked number 2 in the Delta League, ending with a record of 6-1. They were being led by head coach Joe Catalico into our first playoff game this Thursday against Casumas Oaks.
Our women's tennis team put in a tremendous amount of time and energy over the summer. They improved every day and were able to clinch a win over Pleasant Grove, with the final score being 5-4.
Women's golf started off strong, placing 4 out of 7 in the Luan Roberts Invitational. While they continue to play strong, we are hoping for them to have a wonderful season.
Sheldon's very own cross-country team has begun setting high standards for the rest of the season. With their hard work and dedication, varsity boys were able to take second place at subsections. Along with them, varsity girls, JV girls, and JV boys qualified for section championships this Friday. Congratulations to all our amazing fall sports.
Moving on, we would now like to congratulate Sean Sullivan, our animation teacher, for being recognized by the Elk Grove City Council as an inductee in the inaugural EG Hall of Fame. He puts in hours of tough work making our animation programs one of the best in the world.
Another VAPA that has been doing tremendously well is our very own Sheldon Theater program. They held their first show called Almost Maine. It's about love, but not quite.
Another group of Sheldon High School's campus that had a great summer was our very own FFA. They had numerous participants try out for the competition of raising chickens at the California State Fair. However, due to limited space, only a few participants were able to take part in the competition. The students that went to the State Fair had a great time and brought back numerous awards.
Our Biotech Academy had a tremendous summer. 21 Sheldon Biotech students received awards for the Teen Biotech Challenge and won over $1,600 in prize money. Of the 7 categories, Sheldon students earned 3 first places, 4 second places, 3 third place finishes, and multiple honorable mention awards.
Students Helping Students started their #Smile project. This promoted awareness and suicide prevention. Students and staff wore yellow ribbons and participated in lunchtime activities signifying the importance of suicide prevention.
We could go on and on about many more events, but for now we will end it here. We would like to thank all of you for your time, and we appreciate everything you do for the community. With that being said, we hope you all have a wonderful night, and as always,
Every day is a great day to be a Husky.
Nice job, students. Nice job. I'd like to recognize Mr. Hank Meyer, principal of Pleasant Grove High School, and Paula Duncan, principal of Sheldon High School. I believe they're here. I didn't see Paula. Nope. All right. Well, let's clap for the students, and you are dismissed. Thank you so much for those reports. So next up, we are going to do recognition of fall student athletes and coaches. Mr. Rod Edmiston is going to present, assisted by my colleagues Bobby Singh Allen and Beth Albiani. Are you okay doing the next one? You can tell me if you're not. Yes. Yeah.
Good evening, members of the school board and Miss Avalos. This evening I am honored to present to you the fall team GPA champions of the Elk Grove Unified School District. These student athletes excel not only in their athletic activity, but also in the classroom. The following teams had the highest grade point average at their school for this fall. At this time, I would like to introduce the coach and captains of our GPA champions. Consumnes Oaks is not with us tonight. They are playing Rockland in the section semifinals. So accepting for them will be Athletic Director George Smith. And I'd also like to recognize Principal Maria Osborne. Elk Grove High School, women's tennis, team GPA 3.8, Coach Ari Kalpagian, and captains Denmarie Abad and Emily Chen. I'd like to recognize Principal Kathy Guy from Elk Grove High School. Florin High School, women's tennis, team GPA 3.1, Coach Suave, and captains Julie Ann Lumbang and Paola Cecilia Zamora. And I'd like to recognize Principal Denise Escobar. Franklin High School, women's tennis, team GPA 4.51, Coach Carl Chapin, captains Vidya Reddy and Haley Wilson. Laguna Creek High School, women's tennis, team GPA 4.15, accepting for Coach Brian Brown as Athletic Director John Ussery, captains Emma Concepcion and Jessica Poon. And I'd like to recognize Principal Doug Craig.
Parents, if your student's up here, feel free to come to the front of the room and take a picture if you so desire. You can stand in front of the tables. Thank you, students. Congratulations. Oops. Thank you. And congratulations to our fall student athletes. Oh, are we only halfway there? Here, I'm trying to
Monterey
rush you.
Trail High School,
Sorry.
women's tennis, team GPA 4.2, Coach Lindsay Harder, captains Kathy Liu and Emily Mark.
Oh, there we are. You're right. All right, my bad.
Pleasant Grove High School will not be able to be with us tonight. They are playing Turlock also in a section semifinal championship game tonight. The women's volleyball team had a team GPA 3.51, and accepting for Pleasant Grove High School is Vice Principal Tegan Keplinger. Sheldon High School Women's Tennis, Team GPA 3.83. Captain Maggie Keeler. Captains Krista Lee and Lisa Sedgwick. Valley High School Cross Country, Team GPA 3.61. Coach Nikki Swift. Captains Jennifer Rodriguez and Josue Enriquez.
Congratulations, students.
Thank you.
Ms. Kathy Hamilton will lead the next recognition of our Best Buy Foundation's donation to the EGUSD Cyber Patriot teams. He will be assisted in the recognition by Chet Madison and Dr. Crystal Martinez-O'Leary.
Good evening, board members and Ms. Avalos. Wow, it's really kind of a sparse group.
Yeah, tis the season.
I'd like to call up a couple of folks to assist me. Sean McNally from Elk Grove High School, who is our district and regional coordinator for Cyber Patriot. And then our guest of honor, Ms. Maggie Duffy Hammonds from Best Buy, joined by her general manager, Vaughn Allen. So we're here tonight to ask you to accept a check from Best Buy on behalf of our Cyber Patriot programs within the district. They are awarding us with $5,870, which will be used for the purposes of registering middle school and high school students in Cyber Patriot competitions for this year. Just want to give you a little bit of background on Cyber Patriot. It is a national program. It's actually the premier national cyber education program. It's created by the Air Force Association to inspire high school and middle school students to look into careers in cybersecurity and other STEM disciplines critical to our nation's future. The program features national youth cyber defense competition for high schools and middle school students, as well as cyber camps and some elementary school initiatives. Under Sean's leadership, we have grown participation in our district. You've been doing this for 3 or 4 years now?
Yes.
And just from last year to this year, we have grown from 33 teams to 41 teams. And that includes this year 2 of our middle schools, 7 of our high schools. Teams are comprised of 2 to 6 youth. So some of the schools might have 2 teams. Our largest school is Monterey Trail High School with 10 teams. And the youth compete in a series of competitions every month from November to February. And these are national competitions. They don't have to leave their own campus to do the competition. It's all done online, often on the weekends. And I just got to share that last weekend was the first competition, and how many thousands of students competed nationally? I don't know, a lot. Or how many? 4,000 students. And in
Students?
that's teams. Okay, so do the math.
Over 25,000.
But of the middle schools that competed, Toby Johnson's 2 teams placed 3rd and 4th in the nation out of 680 middle school teams. Do we know did we decide Monterey Trail placed
97 out.
So Monterey Trail has very talented teams. They're a data academy there, produces a lot of talented students. And of those 10 teams that competed this past weekend, a few that I know of scored very high. The highest one that I saw, and I haven't seen all team results yet, but the ones I was able to check on, They had a team score 97th out of 2,030 teams nationwide. And it's going global. If you look at the map online, there's people in Japan and Germany and all over the place.
So why is Best Buy giving us money? It does cost money to register our teams. It's $205 per team for the high school division and $165 per team for the middle school division. The Air Force Association waives fees for all girl teams. It waives fees for Title I schools, but nonetheless, as you can tell, we have a lot of teams. And so this donation from Best Buy is a great contribution toward covering the cost of registering Elk Grove Unified's teams. So with that, I'd like you to accept this gift.
We are happy to. Thank you so much, Best Buy.
I should also say that all of these teams are coached by faculty members and community members, staff members of actually one of Steve Mates, Skip Brewer. He is the coach at Monterey Trail High School. So we have a lot of dedicated volunteers.
Yep. Next portion of our agenda is the resolutions. The first item is Native American Heritage Month. If Ms. Danja Lowry could please come up.
Good evening, Ms. Chavez Espinosa, members of the board, and Ms. Avalos. On behalf of the Native American Education Program, the Native American Community and Learning Support Services, we would like to thank the board for adopting this resolution for November to be Native American Heritage Month. This resolution is one of the many actions that the Board of Education has taken to support the expansion of cultural activities and community events for our Native American students and families. This year, our weekly cultural program had to find a new space to accommodate the increasing number of students and families that attend and learn with us. Arthur C. Butler has welcomed us to their campus and has allowed us to continue outreach and growth for our program. Our community partnerships are strong and include local tribes, Native American agencies, and institutes of higher education. We continue to offer learning in the community through field trips and college visits. The EGUSD program is respected both locally and nationally throughout the nation, and staff have presented and shared our successes at 2 national conferences, the College Board Native American Student Advocacy Institute and the National Indian Education Association. We are always looking for new areas to expand on and are embarking upon a new project teaching about Native American art with the Crocker Museum. This resolution brings the need to educate and present Native American heritage to all students to the forefront of our efforts, and honors a significant investment of the Native American community in our students. I would like to take a moment to ask the students and families of our Native American education program to stand and be honored as supporters of our schools and this resolution. Please stand, families.
Thank you.
Tonight we have with us Clinton Chrisman and his family, Margarita Barhouse, and Letitia Penna. And now I'd like to call to the microphone Marissa Posh.
Good evening. My name is Marissa Posh. I am from the Pomo Nation, and I have been part of the Native American Indian Education Program for the last 3 years. Our teacher, Mr. Nelson, has taught us to be proud of our individual nations, but not to disrespect other people, but to welcome them and share our stories and culture. Mr. Nelson has taught us about Native leadership. We have learned that Native people are natural leaders. Each person is respectful for their gifts. He has shared traditional knowledge about creating relationships and communities. One thing you may not know about Mr. Nelson is that he goes to our graduations, promotions, birthdays, family events, and even hospital visits when someone is sick from the community. We share lives through ceremonies, songs, and teachings. I now know that humor is part of our culture. I now can sing the Woman Warrior song with thousands of indigenous women all over the Turtle Island in North and South America. And this makes me strong enough to be a businesswoman when I become an adult. These teachings are a big part of my life, and I have improved my grades. I now know that November is Native Heritage Month, but much more important, I now know my value, power, and responsibility in this world. I thank you for your support with the Native American Education Program and with my future.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Excellent job. Before calling for a motion on that resolution, our colleague, Dr. Crystal Martinez-O'Leary, has indicated that she would like to make some comments.
I would just like to speak. It's an honor to have the parents and families here from the Indian Education Program. Again, being a member of the Native community myself, again, that recognition is very important. And to have that recognition for the local tribes and the youth that are here, I'm very proud to see you get up here and speak before us, because I think that's really important to share your culture, your traditions, your knowledge, and your wisdom. You're going to be leading us in the future, and we look forward to that. And so again, very proud to say the work that the Indian Education Program has done and contributed over the years, and being a local member of a Miwok tribe, again, I want to say that it's an honor to present that recognition for our tribal communities.
Ms. Bobby Singh Allen?
Young lady, wow. You are so inspiring. Really, you truly are very eloquent and very passionate. I love seeing young leaders who embrace their culture and heritage, because you truly are our future. But when you embrace who you are and where you come from, you carry on those traditions. So I'm very proud of you. And I'm also proud of the great work our district does. And I also want to recognize at this time my colleague, Dr. Crystal Martinez-O'Leary, as our first Native American School Board trustee. Kudos to you on your accomplishments as well.
Mr. Madison, any comments?
I think Bobby, she summed it up pretty well. A very courageous presentation, and just a good job. Thank you.
Excellent. I'm going to call for a motion to approve resolution number 33.
I so move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I believe that's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Next up, we have a resolution for Sikh American Awareness and, a picture. I apologize, I didn't see you. So Mr. Cerruti, just hold that thought while we take a picture. See that, sorry. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Cerruti will be presenting about the Sikh American Awareness and Appreciation Month resolution.
Thank you, Ms. Chair Espinoza, members of the board, and Ms. Avalos. The Board of Education is respectfully requested to approve resolution number 34, 2017-2018, which designates November 2017 as Sikh American Awareness and Appreciation Month. This resolution recognizes and acknowledges the significant contributions made by Californians of Sikh heritage to the state, and affords the opportunity for its students to understand, recognize, and appreciate the rich history and shared principles of Sikh Americans. The California Department of Education has designated the month of November 2017 as California Sikh American Awareness and Appreciation Month. In doing so, they note that this observance permits the society at large and the schools in particular to celebrate the achievements of Sikh Americans and also to re-examine society's role in preserving the civil rights of all of its citizens.
Excellent. Before I take comments from my colleagues, we do have one blue card on this item. Mr. Gurjatinder Singh Randhawa? Yes. And you have 3 minutes, sir.
Thanks for giving me opportunity to say some words over here. Thank you all to celebrate month of November as a Sikh Appreciation Month in California. It's a great thing for us, for our community. First Sikh Guru's birth date falls in November. Sikhs have been in the United States for the last 125 years and continue to be vital part of society. At first they faced adversities but soon overcame them to make a name for Sikhs in the United States. We have high ranks in the military, powerful businessmen, farmers, scientists, doctors, engineers, and many more who contributed a great success to this country. I would like to recognize, because we have Mr. Nirmal Singh and his wife, he's here with us. His son was in US Army and was deployed in Afghanistan. His name was Gurpreet Singh. He sacrificed his life for USA in 2011. Please come over the stage. Mr. Nirmal Singh and Satnam Kaur.
Feel free to come up to the front.
The economy has been widely supported with all the help and contribution from the Sikh community who coordinate with the rest of this diverse nation. Ash Kalada, Assembly Member, who helped continue this 5th year of celebrating the Sikh Appreciation Month. In the US, Sikhs has faced many issues with identity since September 11 attacks in New York and Washington. In California, we are very thankful that we received 100% of support and votes from the Assembly to continue this celebration. Lastly, the Elk Grove Unified School District and especially Bobby Singh Allen, who is also from our community, are much appreciated in helping us as a community to spread the appreciation and knowledge of Sikhs within our local schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. You can stay there. I know Ms. Singh Allen indicated she'd like to make some comments.
Yes, thank you. I would like to make some comments, and then I have a copy of the resolution that I would like to present to my brothers and sisters who are here with us this evening. I want to recognize Mr. Gurjatinder Randhawa, who also serves on our multicultural committee with the city of Elk Grove, who I consider to be not only a great, courageous community leader, but also a dear friend and a brother. And to Mr. Nirmal Singh and Satnam Kaur, Auntie Ji, thank you for the sacrifice that I know, any parent must be going through when you lose a loved one. But your son served our country proudly, and we are all grateful for his sacrifice. And we're all free here because of soldiers who have died for this country. And I want to recognize that there are a growing number of Sikhs that are serving in our armed services who do continue to receive discrimination because we do want to wear our turbans when we serve. So we continue to face discrimination, even serving this country that we all love. So the more that we can do to educate our children, it all starts with our children. Is one of the reasons I joined the school board, that I thought I could make a difference educating young minds before they go into adulthood and bring on those biases, they're not born that way. So when we have these opportunities through our resolutions and all of the good work that we do promoting diversity and multiculturalism, we really go above and beyond not only teaching our children's minds, but also their hearts. So with this resolution, it's very meaningful to me as a proud Sikh American and as the first Sikh in our greater community that serves. But also it's an opportunity, it's a teachable moment for our district to go back, not only share the resolution, but I will encourage, of course, Mr. Cerruti to share educational links that I will provide to you that are easily adaptable in classrooms so that the resolution has meat to it and it has meaning. Because the more that we educate our students, the more awareness that we will have and more respect for our youth. So I will provide those links to Mr. Cerruti. And again, really grateful that our district recognizes this. I was honored to bring this when I first joined the board, and I'm very grateful because not every school district does this, which is unfortunate because these are teachable moments. We all have a responsibility. So I thank my colleagues for their continued support, and I thank our district for that support as well. So with that, I will come down and meet you and present the copy of this resolution since we have members of our community here with your...
Just one second, any other comments from the board? Okay, in that case, I'm going to call for a motion to approve resolution number 34, which designates November 2017 as Sikh American Awareness and Appreciation Month.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And that passes unanimously. Thank you. Well, sure. Excuse me, our last resolution of the evening is for School Psychology Awareness Week. If Mr. Don Ross could please come up to the podium.
Good evening, members of the board and Ms. Avalos. The National Association of School Psychologists, NASP, has designated November 13th through the 17th as National School Psychology Awareness Week. This year's theme, Power Up, Be a Positive Charge, reminds both students and adults how taking a small positive action creates connections that lead to positive change, builds greater success, and develops the academic and social-emotional skills students need to promote personal achievement, growth, resiliencies, as well as a sense of belonging. School psychologists are uniquely qualified members of school teams that support students' ability to learn and teachers' ability to teach. By encouraging and valuing intentional, small, positive efforts, adults and students grow academically, build understanding, create compassion, and become more resilient. Ultimately, these strengths empower all to feel connected with one another and to take steps, both individually and collectively, to change the lives for the better. School psychologists partner with families, teachers, school administrators, and other professionals to create a safe, healthy, and supportive learning environment that strengthens connections between home, the school, and the community. In recognition of the important role that our school psychologists play in the success of all students in Elk Grove Unified School District, we ask the board to approve the resolution recognizing November 13th through the 17th as National School Psychology Awareness Week. And at this time, we have some members of our school psychology team here, so I'd like for them to stand up and be recognized, and if okay, to take a photo.
Oh, please come up to the front of the room, folks. Thank you. Yeah, we didn't have anybody for that one, did we? Oh, well.
While we're taking the picture, Ms. Scheides, may I say a few words?
Of course.
I just want to recognize our school psychologists as well. I've had the pleasure to get to know a few of you through our Partners in Education work. And, you know, the work that you provide to our students is invaluable because it goes towards educating the whole child and our wellness. So, again, just wanted to recognize and thank you for all of the work that you do for our children. It means the world to everyone. Thank you.
Any other comments from my colleagues? Ms. Beth Albiani?
That's fine.
Okay, my bad. All right. Thank you very much. And before we call for a vote on that, I also have a blue card on this. If Ms. Summer Thomas could please come up to the podium.
Good evening. Thank you, Board, for allowing me to speak. I'm just coming up here. We're talking about psychology awareness and the well-being of our students and their mindsets. And so last year, Maria Osborne, the principal at Kissimmee Oaks High School, along with the theater, Wolfpack Theater, and some input from the Creative Writing Club, allowed me to implement a program called The Outlet, a place for expression without judgment. And it essentially was meant to create a peer counseling environment for students. They write their feelings down on paper, and then they act it out, or they remain anonymous. Either way, their voice is heard, whether they're front and center or not. So, you know, we've had really good feedback. Our next outlet will be on January 13th, which is a Saturday. We'll have more information coming up. I just thought it would be a good time to let the board know what Kissimmee Oaks High School is doing for the wellness of their students in their entirety. So, again, I just wanted to thank you for allowing me to come and speak. And the outlet does create positive connections, a sense of belonging, and a sense of compassion amongst the students. And then we get to show that and showcase that for the community so that they can take part in the wholeness and in the entirety and the well-being of the child. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for your work. Ms. Thomas, thank you so much for your work on behalf of our students. Did any other board members have any comments? Right, thank you so much, and I realize I did things a little bit out of order, but let's take a motion on resolution number 36, recognizing November 13th through 17th as National School Psychology Awareness Week.
So moved.
Second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
So that resolution is official. Next item is the request for student expulsions. If anyone wishes to address the board in closed session regarding a student expulsion, you are able to do so. Not seeing anyone, and we haven't received any requests, so I'm going to call for a motion to approve the request for student expulsions.
So moved.
And a second? Moved and seconded. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes. I have on my agenda item request for return, but I'm just verifying that we actually have one. Okay, we do. Request for return from student expulsion. Again, I'll call for a motion to approve these returns.
So moved.
Moved and a second. Moved and seconded. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Measure passes. Okay, next item is public comment for items not on today's agenda, and we've got several. So first up is Nikisha Henry. Please come on up, and she will be followed by Sherry Wilson. And just a quick reminder before you get started, everybody's got 3 minutes, and there should be a clock visible to you, hopefully.
Okay, good evening to all of the board members. Thank you for having me. My name is Nikisha Henry. I am an advocate within the Elk Grove Unified School District, primarily for students with disabilities. I am speaking tonight regarding the concerning amount of math deficiency across the board. Nearly 60% of students within the district are failing math, including my son. This is an alarming rate, and it is mandatory at this point to have a serious intervention from the district level. Unfortunately, math is no longer being taught. It's being lectured due to the amount of Common Core curriculum. Students are failing at the secondary education level, even with having private tutors. My son has a tutor. This creates an equity issue. There's power in numbers, so I'm just going to break down a few for you guys tonight. Math tests in the district are weighted at 90%. That is very alarming. After doing research, the district number is 90%. However, not all schools are following that. Sheldon High School is 90%. That means 90% is homework, 90% is weighted at test, 10% is homework and participation. Pleasant Grove High School is doing 70-30. Monterey Trails is doing 70-30. I've contacted all of the schools, and unfortunately, either they would not give me the information or they pretended they did not know. Students invest, here are more numbers. Students invest in an average of 10 hours of math homework every week. And although a struggle, the majority of the students manage to get through it and complete the homework with the help of tutors and their parents or Google. Then they take a 45-minute test to evaluate their comprehension of the concepts. So the problem is, if they fail that test, that 45 minutes supersedes the 10 hours that they've put in all week to try to prepare for that. So, who are the students that are affected? The regular students, obviously, many of whom are losing confidence and hope because they really feel that they are trying their best and cannot seem to get ahead. Student athletes, they dedicate countless hours to their respective sports, not only representing their middle school and high schools, but many of them have high expectations at competing at the collegiate level, including my son. Because of this academic system, more athletes are becoming ineligible each year. 80% of the student athletes who were ineligible for football last quarter was because of math. Students with learning disabilities. They usually have a difficult time keeping up in class, primarily because of disorders of memory and thinking and attention deficit and processing difficulties. Again, these are all equity issues. Solutions, and this is what I'm presenting and petitioning to you guys as the board. One, there needs to be an implementation of content-based learning system. The students should be allowed to go over mistakes and make test corrections for tests that they receive a D or below. I've spoken with several teachers, and they believe that this is considered a modification, but that is not true.
Ms. Henry, you got to bring it to a conclusion.
I'm sorry?
You have to bring it, your time is almost up.
I know, but part of my time was used in saying that I only had 3 minutes. I'm wrapping it up.
Okay,
I'm wrapping it up,
yeah.
okay? So they believe that this is a modification, which is why a lot of teachers do not do that. I know you guys as the board can't force teachers because they have laws for the freedom and on how they teach as far as the curriculum is concerned. However, the test corrections, that's a part of the repetition, and it's not modification according to California Department of Education. And lastly, the last solution is that math tests should not be weighted so heavily at 90-10. Instead, it should be 50-50. In the California Education Code, when grades are given for any course of instruction taught in a school district, the grade given to each pupil shall be the grade determined by the teacher of the course and the termination of the pupil's grade by teacher. In the absence of clerical or mechanical mistake, fraud, bad faith, or incompetency shall be final. Many students are failing math because of incompetency. However, their final grade ends up being just that, which is against California Education Code.
Ms. Sherry Wilson, who will be followed by Robin Blanks.
Good evening. One, I want to support Nikisha, and I agree. I know a few other students, including mine, who's suffering in math as well, and they're just not getting it, you guys. They're not getting it, and it's if it's 90% of their grade, what do you guys expect for them? And the teachers is not teaching. They don't even have the patience for the students. And one thing is they don't even get it themselves. A lot of the teachers don't get it. But I'm here to address something else. I just want to say thank you to Bobby. Thank you so much for coming out to the town hall meetings and supporting us. Having a voice there, it really meant everything. Also, I know it says something else there, but you're Nancy. Nancy, I want to thank you. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for listening. I wish I would have seen more of you all. Mr. Madison or Chat, I wish I would have seen you there and the rest of you. And also some of the other employees of Elk Grove Unified School District, because we really touched on biases and how we think and how we hire people. So it was kind of saddening that I didn't see more of the school district. I would like to say that Ms. Pinkerton, she's a part of your communication. She was there every single session. So I just want to thank her. And I also want to thank Miss Laurie. I always say Sonia, but Miss Laurie, you was there every single session. I just want to say thank you. Your voice was heard, and you was there to support. And I just wish more people would have came out from the school district, because we need to see more diversity in hiring, you guys. It's not okay. One of my girlfriends said the first year that she never received a call home for her child was when he had an African American teacher, because she understood him. But we really need to get on the same. I know the city is doing a lot, but I think the school board needs to step up and understand that it's a real race issue in Elk Grove. And it's not just in our community, but it's also in our schools. And if we don't start teaching diversity and the difference between people in our schools, then we're going to continue to raise these kids that's driving up and down Elk Grove Boulevard in those trucks, harassing other black boys and girls, and it's not okay. So hopefully you guys do something similar so the students and also the staff would get more involved. Again, I want to stress that I was very disappointed that I didn't see more teachers and you guys there. I do want to say Mr. Nevis, Dave Nevis, was there every single day, but he was just one principal. Just one principal. So with that being said, thank you again, Bobby. Thank you again, Nancy, Miss Laurie, and Miss Pinkerton. And I hope I didn't miss anyone. But thank you, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Miss Robin Blanks. There she's coming on up, and she will be followed by Letitia Gilmore. Come on up, and you can pull that microphone down so it's a little more comfortable.
Good evening, board members. I just wanted to...
Just going to help you out.
Can you state your name for the records? Okay, my name is Robin M. Blanks. And I just wanted to say that the thing with math, as one of the district's paraeducators, substitutes, I have seen, not only have I had my kids and grandkids go through the school system, I've had to tutor them. But what they're learning now, I have one that's in second grade, I have one that's in eighth. And there is a major difference between the way that he was taught. He's doing good, which is great right now, and the way that they're being taught now at elementary because of the new codes. I had to sit there and literally teach myself, because I'm looking at this, and this is something brand new. I'm kind of like, they need to have classes, not just for, for the kids, but also for parents, because this is a whole different way
of learning that we have not had before. I've been in the school system a long time and also a nurse. There has not been anything like what they are doing now. Everybody needs to go back and get a sense of what's going on, because my grandson, basketball player, he's in high school next year. I've already had two that have graduated. And I'm looking at with the codes and stuff that are changing, that have changed, and what they're doing now for the exit exams and everything that's going on. This is making it very hard on our kids, and not all these kids can have tutors, unfortunately. All I can say is that I really think we need to get on board. We need to have classes. We need to do more districts, principal-wise, school-wise, because they need to have where, I don't care if it's once a week, during maybe once every 2 weeks, where they can get parents together so that parents can be able to help their kids, because the kids aren't getting it all in class. So that's all I really wanted to say in support of the math and the fact that we really need to step up with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Blanks. Letitia Gilmore, who will be followed by Latasha Johnson.
Good evening to the board members. My name is Letitia Gilmore. My husband and I have 4 students in the Oak Grove Unified School District, 1 in elementary school, 1 in middle school, and 2 in high school. And 3 of them are boys. And with our boys, they have struggled with math throughout their years in the school district. 2 of them have what is called executive functioning issues. We just recently discovered this. And we've constantly had issues with them with math. I've tried to help them with homework, and it's been an issue because I haven't understood it myself. And then once our oldest son entered high school, and as it's been mentioned, the codes have changed. The teachers have had issues, have had weekend workshops, and still you have children struggling with math. So obviously there's an issue here that needs to be addressed. Most recently, I called for an all-teacher conference for my oldest son at Valley. Of all those teachers, I want to say only 3 or 4 of his teachers showed up. And a parent mentioned about unless it was an African-American teacher, teachers don't show up, teachers don't place phone calls. And unless you really demonstrate that you are concerned about your child, you don't hear from teachers. That needs to change, because we are just as concerned about our children being educated and being successful as anybody else. And if there is an issue in the classroom, it is something that should be addressed, and be addressed immediately by the teacher with the parent. I had a issue. My oldest son, got a B on a math test. He had a poor homework assignment that he turned in. Because of that, his grade dropped drastically from a B to an F. To me, that's unacceptable. And that the grading system is something that I think needs to be looked at, and it needs to be uniform across the board, and the teachers as a whole need to follow whatever guidelines are being set. Because of that, he could have potentially been academically ineligible to play football. So something, again, as Nikisha Henry has said, other parents have said, I'm here in support of her, something has to change. And we expect you all to do something to help all of our children to be academically successful in this area, so that they can go on to college and be successful beyond high school. Because that is our goal, to see our kids be successful, high school, college, and in life. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Latasha Johnson.
Before we get started, if it's any more blue cards or that want to be heard, make sure you pass them now. I see them, they keep trickling up, so we
It's
have
helpful to have them earlier.
All right, thank you.
Good evening, board and everyone attending. My name is Latasha Johnson. I am the mother of Elk Grove High School student. He's a freshman. I just wanted to address the board, just commenting, piggybacking on what Nikisha said about the math efficiency. Currently, Elk Grove's, the way they're scoring math is pretty close to Sheldon's. They're weighting their test at 80% and their homework at 20%, which is ridiculous to me. My son had a C on Monday, but because of a test, his grade went down to a D minus. He is currently at, homework is 20%, he's currently at 19.34% of 20. So he's turning in all homework assignments. My concern is homework assignments are not being corrected. So if homework assignments aren't being corrected, how does the teacher know if the student understands the work? So he's doing all the homework. His testing is where his grade drops dramatically. He's testing at 136%, points, 136 points out of 223. So he's at a 49% of 80. That is why his grade is a D. He does not miss homework assignments. I'm very active on Parent View. I know when things get turned in. I talk to teachers. My son does have a 504 plan, and I talked to my son about the test on Monday, where he does have accommodations to use notes. I said, did you use notes? He said that the teacher walked past him and said everybody needs to put everything away. My son is not going to make a scene and say, no, I'm supposed to have this, because I don't want him to draw attention to himself either. But I did send an email today when I found that out to question that. So I'm also wanting to address the board about just the non-representation of people of color in the board. I'm that parent that has only had one black teacher in the 10 years of being here, my son being in the Elk Grove School District. One black teacher. First year I never got a phone call home, and I truly know it's because she understood him. He didn't turn into a different child. He just had somebody that understood him, was more patient. Instead of sending him out of the classroom, she would give him assignments when he was getting antsy to take something to the office, instead of sending him to the office to be in trouble for making an outburst or blurting out instead of raising his hand. So I just want to really urge anybody that has anything to do with hiring to just start looking into having more representation for our African American students. And also tutoring. I found out accidentally that if students score less than a D or a D or less on their test, that they're supposed to get a referral to tutoring. I have not yet to hear that. I just found that out recently, and I will be addressing that as well. But these are the things that just need to be addressed. I knew nothing about that. I only heard because my son told me that his friend was in tutoring. I said, okay, there's tutoring available. Oh, you can't come unless you get a referral from your teacher, and you have to be failing. Why does it have to get to the point of failing before tutoring is offered? So thank you for hearing me. I hope that this does get addressed. We plan on being at more meetings and being more active in this process. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, I'm going to call on Amanza Chrisman, and please correct my pronunciation anytime. He will be followed by Clinton Chrisman, and a couple of folks have submitted more than one blue slip, so come on up, honey, it's okay. So just for everyone's edification, the way that public comment works is that it's 1 3-minute period per person. You don't get to keep submitting, so just so folks know that. It's all good.
Hello, my name is Amanza Chrisman. I am a 6th grader and a member of the Native American Education Program. I have also been a type 1 diabetic since I was 1 year old. I need insulin to live. I've been in 2 comas and my heart stopped once when I was 2 years old because my sugars weren't treated correctly. I check my blood sugar 10 times a day and get insulin 10 times a day. I used to go to Dillard, but not anymore because the nurse wasn't doing my diabetes right. She wasn't testing my urine when my sugar was over 350 like the doctor's order said. Now I'm homeschooled because the nurse didn't follow orders. I asked the nurse if she was going to dip my urine and call my dad. She told me no, don't worry about it, go to class. I miss my friends at school, but I know I'm not safe at school.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, was that it, honey? I wasn't sure if you were done. Okay. Any
Thank you.
questions? All right, thank you. Good job.
Thank you.
Next up, Mr. Clinton Chrisman. You only get 3 minutes, so you can decide whatever you want to talk about. Yep, it's only 1 3-minute period.
Well, I guess he pretty much covered my number part too.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, good evening. My name is Clinton Chrisman. I am the community representative for the Native American Indian program. I came here tonight to respectfully request that Columbus Day be renamed. And the reason why I ask this is that in the last 600 years, it has taken so many different people from so many different cultures to make America what it is today. And I think all these people should be recognized, and somehow it's almost impossible to take everybody that's around and just put them into one category. So I'm going to call them indigenous people because they've been here, their families have been here for 500-600 years. And so I would like to see Columbus Day changed to Indigenous Peoples Day, so it represents all the people that have sacrificed for this country, that that came from South America, from south of the border, north of the border, from other countries. They've all came here. They've all done magnificent things to make America great, and I think they should be recognized also, instead of just recognizing one person on one day.
Yeah. Mr. Chrisman, you know we're not allowed to engage in conversation, but I would like some clarification. So specifically you're asking for the district's designation to change, because I don't believe Columbus Day is a holiday for the district.
It's not a holiday, but it's on the calendar it says Columbus Day, and I would just like to see that changed. Contra Costa School District has already done away with Columbus Day and has called it now Indigenous Peoples Day.
Okay, so you'd like to just not see it on the calendar anywhere?
Okay.
Okay. All right. All right. Thank you very much, sir.
Oh, I still got a minute, 3
You
seconds
do?
left.
You do?
And
Anything else?
I'd also respectfully request that an opportunity to meet with the school board or a designated school board member in regards to my son, Monty Chrisman, and his situation.
Yeah, for sure. We're going to ask Mr. Cerruti or whoever he thinks is the right person to meet with you as soon as you're done here,
I've
so
already
that
met
you
with
can
Mr. Cerruti
get some assistance.
and Mr. Ross, and their response was not suitable for me. So I would like to.
Well,
speak with somebody
we'll
else.
make sure to get in contact with you after the meeting. Then.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Next up is Michelle Murphy, who will be followed by Bobby Dalton.
Good evening. I am Michelle Murphy. I'm both a parent in the district and an employee. I'm the principal of Zinder Ranch Elementary. Honors to the board, Ms. Avalos, and the superintendent's cabinet. I'm here tonight as a parent, hoping the board will consider adding an agenda item to an upcoming board meeting. I'm the mother of 3 children, 2 of which are African American males. who have been educated in the Consumnes Oaks Franklin region from kindergarten through 12th grade. My youngest son was just recently moved from Consumnes Oaks to Elk Grove High School. I've been an administrator here in the district since 2006, and I do some form of student discipline almost every day. I've always treated the children in my care with compassion, especially when they find themselves in my office. They are children, and it's my chance to teach them one-on-one how to handle life and to make better choices. Behavior that lands students in the office is usually the result of some bigger underlying problem. Therefore, I strive to treat children of Elk Grove families with the utmost compassion, only to learn on October 17th that my own child was treated like a criminal, and discipline at his school was carried out by the sheriff's department and not by administrators for low-level misconduct. He had previously complained to me about the school, the sheriff following him around campus and making comments to him, but I did not act, and I will be regretting that forever. My story is long and painful, and I know I only have 3 minutes. I'm here because I could not locate board policy or administrative regulations that establish boundaries or describe the scope of the Sheriff's Department's interaction with Elk Grove students. I also could not find any requirements for the collection of data on the number of encounters between students and the Sheriff's Department. I'm here to ask the board to establish policies that protect Elk Grove students from having interactions with the police for low-level misconduct that should be handled by site administration. This conduct is conduct that does not present a threat to students, staff, and teachers. And also to develop accountability measures to track student and police interactions. I'm also requesting that the superintendent consider administrative regulations that prohibit site administrators from having Elk Grove students interface with the Sheriff's Department over low-level misconduct that does not present an immediate threat to students, staff, and teachers. These policies and regulations would serve to protect Elk Grove students from incidents with police that could lead to their arrest and imprisonment. These policies would also demonstrate to the community that our focus is on educating all Elk Grove students and not using our discipline system as a pipeline to the correctional system.
Thank you, Ms. Murphy. After Mr. Dalton, I have Adri Walker.
Good evening, board members. My name is Bobby Roy.
Sorry.
I originally wanted to speak on Education Code 49010, which is about the unlawful student fees. It was great to see some of these students being recognized, and also just a lot of the folks that are getting recognized. However, in light of the moving comments by some of the students and the parents here, I just feel compelled to talk about how something that my mom taught me about education is that it needs to be relevant and it needs to be meaningful. Parents need to know what their rights are. Parents need to know that they shouldn't be forced to pay for certain things that should be free and provided by the education system. But also, more importantly, they need to know that one of the problems in our school system is that there is a logic of inequality in our schools. The schools are not intended to be equal, and it's something that the father of Black history, Carter G. Woodson, recognized. It's something that Renato Constantino, who studied Carter G. Woodson, wrote in his Miseducation of the Filipino American. And the thing is that what they recognize is that if they were intended to be equal, we wouldn't have standardized curricula, we wouldn't have standardized tests, but then not have standardized resources and not have standardized teachers and teacher quality. These stories of these students and 60% that are failing, you don't give tests to determine whether someone is competent and then not give them the resources to pass those tests unless you're really not trying to pass them. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Adri Walker, who will be followed by, and please correct my pronunciation, but I believe it's Kia Ford.
I was at the recent town halls. My name is Adri
Could you
Walker.
state your name again for the
My
record?
name is Adri Walker. I was at the recent town halls regarding racism here in Elk Grove, and the woman's story about her son being criminalized by the sheriff's department wasn't, I mean, this isn't the first time I've heard it. I heard it several times at these town halls, and there were many people that spoke up about incidents at school, and the police presence in the schools is a concern that I heard a lot. And I wanted to ask if the district will consider implementing implicit bias training for the administrators and staff as well as for the students. And I don't have a child here in Elk Grove, but I feel that, you know, the children grow up and they become the next generation. I mean, they become the community. Implicit bias training is like a basic first step. It feels like as necessary as sexual harassment training and sexual education in schools. I mean, it seems like a basic need. So I'd like to ask for that. And I wanted to talk about the math. I'm a biomedical engineer. I have a degree from Arizona State University, bachelor's. I'm working on getting into my professional career. I don't have a job yet, but I'm a biomedical engineer, and math came as easy as breathing for me when I was in school. That said, that's not necessarily, that's not most people's encounter with math. And even though math came easily to me, there were still 2 hours of work every night. There was still, I was good at it, and it still took me 2 hours. I can't imagine struggling and working 2 hours every day and then still not getting it. That's unreasonable. And I did participate in sports the first year I came to Elk Grove. Laguna Creek was my sophomore year. And I couldn't stay in basketball my junior and senior years because the workload was overwhelming. And then on top of that, I don't think that the testing and the homework load was graded at 90 and 10 like it is now. I never tested well. I was a good student and I made it through, but I think I never completed a timed test. I think I could probably count on one hand the number of times I finished every question. If I had finished every question, I would have been getting, almost 100% every time, but I didn't necessarily. So the testing is really, the fact that it's 90-10 right now, it's a big problem. And the homework load is already heavy enough. And for it not to count, that would be really hard and demoralizing. So, thank you.
Thank you. So Kia Ford, who will be followed by Frenchelle Brown.
Good evening, board members. My name is Kia Ford. I'm the parent of an 11-year-old sixth grader at Raymond Case Elementary. I just want to thank you for taking the time now to hear us out tonight. I just wanted to give you a little bit of insight of a day in the life of me and my daughter. I'm a single mother. I work 8:30 to 5:30. I take her to school and then I pick her up from CDI just barely by 6. At that point in time, we get home and we spend hours on math. She's not understanding it. This is the first year that she has
gotten an F in math. Her confidence has dropped. She's not able to do sports during the week. Gymnastics and dancing is what she's done up till this 6th grade year. I've met with her teacher the first trimester. She recommended flashcards and cutting her. She said that's too long, cut it down to 30 minutes. So whatever she's got done within that 30 minutes is what she needs to bring to me. She takes her homework there, and then we get a big list of missing assignments. These missing assignments weren't completed. Her grade goes down. It's just, I feel like her school is failing me. I'm trying to do everything that I can, and she's not. The grade's not going up. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I feel disappointed in the school. I have a meeting coming up with her principal and the vice principal and the teacher this coming week. So I'm going to talk to him. But the first trimester, when I saw that first F, I was very disappointed. I spent a lot of time with my daughter trying to work on this. She's not getting it. I can't afford a tutor. I've looked into all of these tutoring places. It's $400. I mean, it's ridiculous. Everybody can't afford a tutor. I just really feel, I don't know what you guys can do. I don't have all the statistics and everything. Her principal told me when I met with him after her first trimester, our school's doing better than what California is doing. And he pulled up some stats, and he said that California is like less than 50% are passing. I think it's in the 40% range. And we're at about 47, almost 50%. So we're doing much better than California as a whole. But now, I have personal issues because of this. I'm inconveniently about to be taken to court by her father, who lives in another state, because he thinks I'm doing something wrong all of a sudden, because she's getting an F in math, which I'm pretty sure, I don't think anything's going to come of it, but it's really a waste of time and an inconvenience. I have to fly to another state to go to court for this. And I know that we're trying to do the best with the homework and everything. A lot of times I don't even get it. I have to Google stuff. You know what I mean? Her teacher, I've spoken to other teachers. They don't even understand what they're teaching a lot of times. They say it's complicated. And then the tests, even though we get the homework done, she's not passing the tests. So, and then so much of the grade is weighed on the test that I don't think it's right. I can't be there to help her with her test. Her teacher says, well, I asked her if they needed help, and she didn't raise her hand. It's just, I'm really, really disappointed in the school system and that school in general. We have one African-American teacher in the school, and I've seen how they group these kids, the African-American kids.
Bring it to an end.
What's that?
Your time's just about expired.
Okay. Alrighty then. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ford. And Ms. Franchelle Brown, right?
Good evening. My name is Franchelle Brown. I'm here in support of Nikisha, about math, as well as some other issues with the diversity in the Elk Grove Unified School District. Back on March the 18th, my son was assaulted by a substitute teacher, but according to your sheriff's department and your security, it didn't happen. 3 weeks ago, we saw that teacher in the store. My son began to shake and cry. He is now 9 years old, being diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder at 9 years old. This is a little boy who fought hard to get on the honor roll and to do his best. After what she did to my child, his grades have gone down. He doesn't want to eat. I'm very saddened with the point that my 9-year-old child does not want to live anymore behind with a teacher, someone I trusted to protect my child. You hurt him. And for Elk Grove Unified School District to send me a letter saying it didn't happen, I'm appalled that my tax dollars is going for her salary and for all of their salaries, and they're not doing anything. You're not doing anything to help. My poor little nephew was in a Caucasian teacher's classroom. The moment we changed him to a black teacher in that school, his grades went up, his behavior was better. We had no more problems. You all need to get it together and start hiring more teachers with diversity and understand where our black children are coming from. Or we're going to get together and finally find a way to get our black children out of your schools. And Mr. Chambers, you, sir, Madison, I spoke with you back in April. You said you were going to look into it and get back to me. Well, here it is now, what, November, and you still haven't gotten back to me. Still waiting. I went to the sheriff's department to get some recourses. I had to file the police report with the sheriff's department because all of your mandated reporters, from your superintendent down to your associate superintendent, Miss Levy, Jennifer Avey, Miss Omi, no one at the school reported it to the sheriff's department. I had to report it because I am a mandated reporter. And every time I try to get resolution from the sheriff's department, what happened, what's going on, they bounced me back to your head security guard, which, by the way, was very rude and disrespectful to me. And I have witnesses, and I have it all documented. Right now, my only recourse is to sue Elk Grove Unified School District. That's not what I want to do. I don't want to have to sue you to get justice for my son. I shouldn't have to go there. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me. And math needs to come up. You need to do more. You need to get the tutors back into the schools like you had 2 years ago for free.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. So our last public comment of the night is Jason Sample.
All right. Good evening, Board Chair Espinoza, members of the Board of Education. My name is Jason Sample, and I'm the Chief Communications and Strategy Officer for Gateway Community Charters. We're here tonight to inform the Board that on October the 3rd, 2007, Gateway Community Charters submitted to the Superintendent's Office a charter petition for Sacramento Academic and Vocational Academy, also known as SAVA. SAVA is one of 9 charter schools successfully operated by Gateway Community Charters, and we have been in operation since 2003, and what we consider a very dynamic partnership with local school districts such as Twin Rivers, San Juan Unified, Yolo County Office of Education, and most recently, as of last Thursday night, Sacramento City Unified School District for SAVA that operates in their boundaries. We are in our 15th year of operation and currently serving over 4,500 students within 9 separate schools. And we've been providing quality education and serving at-risk and underserved youth for the past 10 years. Finally, tonight, in consultation with your legal counsel and ours, we are submitting a red line of the petition submitted to the Superintendent's Office on October 3rd. This red line petition removes the language regarding our ability to exercise the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act based geographical exemptions of Ed Code 476051G, while still highlighting our desire to provide an instructional program that prepares our students to graduate career ready. Also, we are happy that this partnership started over 10 years ago with the discussion between the former superintendents of the Grant Joint Union High School, Elk Grove Unified, and Sac City. And so tonight we are coming here to present this petition to you for your consideration, and we look forward to working with your staff in a collaborative manner. Finally, we invite you to come out to visit us at SAVA and see firsthand the programs that we offer our students.
Okay.
Thank you. Questions? No? Well, we can't
No,
take
we
questions
can't.
now,
No
sorry.
questions.
My bad.
No questions.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And that is it. That is the end of our public comment tonight. Next item is consent agenda. I'd like to call for a motion to approve items 1 through 47. Moved and
Second.
second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Thank you. Measure passes. And next, Mr. Mark Cerruti is going to provide an update on the LCAP measures.
Thank you again, Ms. Charas Espinoza, members of the board, and Ms. Avalos. As my partner and colleague, Mrs. Hikito, is pulling the PowerPoint information up, just to set the stage, and I'm going to turn it over to her. When we're working on the LCAP oftentimes is viewed as the document, but it's really much more of it's a process. The document is an outcome of the continuous improvement and accountability steps that we take as a district And part of that is obviously stakeholder engagement. You've heard me reference that a number of times. It is, we'll get it set, we'll get it set up. I'll stretch. Is the stakeholder engagement, and obviously it's also the strategic goals that we have set up. It is the actions and services, the expenditures that we make, but the bottom line is we're measuring progress based on identified metrics. Some of those metrics are state identified and some are local identified. And this evening what we're doing is we're going to be sharing with you those local measures that that we're bringing to the board. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Christine. And Christine, you can shoot it right to the portion where you're going to. That's assuming it's working.
As you may recall, the required LCAP metrics, we have 26 or so for district metrics. They're a combination of statewide available measures such as CASP and suspensions, as well as some measures that need to be captured locally. So the dashboard reports out the statewide available data. Currently they have about 6 measures at this point, only 6. And districts are now required to report progress on local measures through the dashboard. Associated with this, the CDE has released standards and required processes for the review and reporting of local measures that we must now follow to report out publicly on our accountability page. And it will show up here on our dashboard report for our district. So these are the local indicators that we will review today, given the processes laid out by the CDE. On basic services, that includes teacher assignment, materials, and facilities, state academic standards, parent engagement, and school climate. When LCAP became law, there were no regulations that operationalized the requirements of LCAP, and we were left to interpret and implement LCAP requirements as is from legislation. And that's what we did, being as literal to the legislative language as possible. The state has since developed performance standards, performance levels, and have also identified specific measures to use. For some local measures, the state has provided some options to choose from for measures and ways to assess performance. And these were only adopted in January of 2017 by the State Board of Education. So these options are still in development, and the measures may be updated over time. So there may be more options that become available for us to choose from in the future. So when given a choice of options for these local indicators, our district has taken the option that most closely resembles the original legislative language. So that's how we have to interpret it. The state has determined the performance standards for the actions that the district has performed to meet the requirements. For each of the local measures, if the district meets these 3 criteria, then the district they meet the performance standard for that measure. And the 3 criteria are to annually measure progress, to report at the board, and upload data to the state dashboard so that it can be publicly reported. There are no specific numeric targets that need to be made. The state also determined performance level for each local indicator. A district is categorized for each local indicator as met if they met those 3 criteria, not met if they didn't, and then there's also a not met for 2 or more years. And these performance levels will be displayed on the dashboard. There are also narrative boxes that are on the dashboard, and
Yeah. We're going to pause for some technical difficulties.
So these are the basic services. This is the first local indicator that we're going to be covering. Our district can report that we met this criteria because we have measured it, and we're reporting it to the board now, and we will report it through the dashboard on these prescribed measures. So these were more given a choice. We have the number and percentage of misassignments for teachers of English learners. We have 13 teachers of the more than 2,200, and that represents 0.6% of our teachers, our English learner teachers. We have the total teacher misassignments. We have 55 teachers of the more than 3,000 teachers, and this represents 1.8% of teachers. And vacant teacher positions at the start of the year, we have 2 teachers representing 0.1%. For the number and percentages of students without access to their own copies of standards aligned materials for use at school and home, we have 0 students, 0%. Everybody has materials. And for the number of identified instances where facilities do not meet the good repair standard, we show 0 facilities or 0%. So these are the minimums that are required for LCAP reporting for local indicators. That in our district, we have been monitoring these basic services and in a more detailed way. For teacher assignment, we not only monitor the number and percentages of misassignments, but we look at the percentages of courses that have fully credentialed teachers by subject area. And this is one of our district LCAP metrics. Here we show 3 years of data ending in the 15-16 year. We have yet to analyze and summarize our 16-17 data. There have been some changes from NCLB to ESSA and subsequently changes to CalPAD's data requirements that have impacted our ability to report out exactly in the same way as we have in the past. So we'll tackle this next month, and we may need to change our reporting metric going forward. So our goal is to have 98% of our core courses taught by teachers who are appropriately assigned or fully credentialed in subject areas they teach, and this is the highly qualified teacher or NCLB standard that we initially started with. Over the past 3 years, past 3 reported years, we have had about 97%. For math and foreign language, the compliant percentage had dropped by about 3 percentage points from 14-15 to 15-16. And during this time, we looked at this data. We found that the number of math sections offered did increase, and the number of compliant math courses did increase in terms of N. The same pattern was found for foreign language. So overall, we increased our district's offerings, offering more classes, but perhaps at the expense of maintaining our previous high level of high qualified teachers in these sections. So in response to this trend and the difficulties in general of the teacher shortage, our Human Resources Department greatly increased their effort last year. There was the Bay Area outreach, contractual changes that led to recognition of 15 years of service, new transfer timelines, and they also strengthened and diversified the relationships with our university partners. So since we don't yet have the 16-17 data to report, the data here does not reflect the impact of those increased efforts in the past year. But we'll soon be able to analyze that and update the board on the findings. Here's also another detailed area of basic services that we've been tracking from the work of our curriculum and professional learning department. Annual sufficiency hearings provide information on instructional materials by subject area, and also confirmation that we've consistently provided all students with access to instructional materials. Under facilities, we have a facilities inspection tool that rates facilities in 8 major areas: systems, interiors, funding, etc. All of our schools are rated, and if they don't pass, then they are fixed or repaired immediately. So
Peter, I'm having a hard time actually hearing you. I don't know if your mic is on or not.
Yeah, if you can get
I
closer.
can barely hear you. Thank you.
So we've consistently had 100% of our schools in good repair. For implementation of state standards, the next local indicator, the district administers an annual state standards implementation survey to teachers. It asks teachers to specify the extent to which they're familiar, how often they apply, and their overall current level of implementation of each of the state standards that are relevant to the teaching setting, along with other questions about instructional practices. These measures were chosen to monitor implementation as well as to inform ways to improve implementation of state standards. The primary measure of implementation asks teachers to self-rate their own personal implementation as either developing, applying, or innovating. The survey also asks teachers to rate their familiarity with state standards and how often they use the state standards in the classroom. So we, as a district, monitor improvements over time, and we look at the differences across schools and subjects so that resources can be targeted to improve implementation or additional support may be needed. So these are some of our results. We've been administering this teacher survey for the last 2 years in the spring. In 2016, we had 800 teachers responding. So with this, we can see that the percentage of teachers implementing state standards that on the bars on the far left improved from 63% in 2016 to 65% in 17. And then by content area, the percentages of teachers implementing state standards range from 35% for science to up to 100% for math. And regarding science, with the recent adoption of the next generation science standards in 2015, our district is currently in the process of building awareness about the standards and the applicability. New materials will not be available for a couple years, so our professional development focus is on understanding the new standards and making connections to the previous standards, much like we did for and then over the next 2 years, we expect this data to shift to positive as more teachers become familiar and apply and implement next generation standards. For parent engagement, we annually administer a parent survey to capture perceptions of how effectively the district provides a number of areas: high quality instruction, effective communication with parents, parent involvement opportunities, support for social and emotional learning and well-being, and a positive school culture and climate. These survey items were developed and selected by a committee of LCAP staff to inform efforts to improve a variety of district instructional programs and family and community engagement efforts, specifically to address LCAP priorities and to meet district goals on student achievement, student engagement, and school climate. Specific to the LCAP requirement, this parent survey captures the extent to which the school has been effective in providing opportunities for parent input and making decisions for the school or district, and parent involvement or parent education opportunities. Here are some results for the past 2 years. In 2017, on the far left, we have 77% of parents who responded to the survey agreed that their school had been effective in providing opportunities, and that has been an improvement from the previous year of 73%. We also look at results by parent ethnicity, and we show some variation among respondents. Parents of white students and parents of 2 or more races show the lowest agreement with this statement at 73% for both parent groups, and American Indian, Filipino, and Pacific Islander students show the highest at 85% and 83%. The right-hand side, the bars on the right-hand side, 2016-17, we had 85% of parents agree that their school had been effective in providing parent involvement and parent education opportunities, which was an improvement from the previous year at 81%. And again, we show some variation by ethnicity of parents, but not as much as the other question. We have Hispanic and white parents showing the lowest agreement at 84% and 83%, and American Indian and Filipino parents showing the highest at 91% for both parent groups. For school climate, at a minimum, we are required to administer a local student climate survey every other year in at least 3 grade levels. We provide a narrative summary and analysis on 2 areas: school safety and connectedness. For this priority, we do a lot more than the minimum. Instead of just administering a student survey, we also administer a culture climate survey to school staff and parents, capturing 3 important perspectives on culture and climate of the schools. And we capture information around 4 themes, not just the 2 areas that are required. We have school connectedness and sense of belonging, a climate of support for academic learning, and knowledge and fairness of discipline rules and norms, as well as safety. For overall climate culture results, our results show that parents have the most favorable rating of the 3 perspectives at 88%, compared to school staff at 84% and students at 71%. Of the 4 themes, students and school staff rated climate of support for academic learning as the highest area, 79% and 94%. Parents also rated this high, but the highest parent rating is for safety at 91%. Students and parents rated school connectedness and sense of belonging as the lowest of the 4 themes at 67% for students and 86% for parents, and school staff rated safety as the lowest at 76%. So, this district also reviews student ratings by ethnicity, as well as the following groups: English learners, foster, homeless, socioeconomically disadvantaged, district staff have assessed our local measures against the state requirements and have determined that we have met the performance standards for each of these 4 local indicators. So we plan to enter these met ratings into our dashboard utility, which will then report out publicly for our district. It'll likely report out in early December. And we will also include a narrative on this dashboard, very similar to what was spoken today, to summarize our status and progress. So thank you. That was the last of the slides. If you have any questions or comments.
Thank you, Ms. Akito. Any questions from the board? Ms. Albiani, I'll start on this end.
Thank you for sharing those. I had reviewed them earlier, and my question I had sent to Mr. Cerruti had gotten answered. So I appreciate the information, and I'm always excited when I'm watching the bars go up. So I look forward to seeing how we did last year. The bars. We like to see us improvement.
Yeah, very, very enlightening report, and as well, I did some studying on it too. There's a lot here to digest and a lot of work to do. I was just looking on one of the graphs of teacher assignment math. I mean, since tonight's outspoken math, what we have, and I was just curious, why was that dropped so bad? I mean, was that because of, I guess, a number of things? I won't. That's on slide 9, or is it 9? Teacher assignment.
Yeah, we looked at the numbers behind the statistics, and it's a combination of we did have increased numbers of sections offered, so there are more courses offered at our schools. Also, we did have show an increased number of qualified teachers for that, but the balance came out differently. So we have a fewer, as a percentage, numbers of highly qualified teachers in that area. And that's partially from the teacher shortage, and it was also data from 15-16, so we haven't analyzed our most recent data from last year.
Okay, that's 15-16.
Yeah.
Okay.
So once we're able to analyze it, we will report back to the board.
Obviously, we have some tall order here to try to fulfill a lot of this and moving the bar in the right direction, but overall, a good report gives a lot of information to us.
Anybody else? Any comments? Mr. Martinez-Leary? Ms. Sayana? Yeah, I do have some questions on slide 13, content standards implementation. So why are we so low on some of these? I know Ms. Akito mentioned with respect to science, which is the lowest that we're waiting for the update to the science standards, but I mean, we seem to be pretty low on a lot of these. So what are the barriers to being at 100%? Is this just a professional development issue?
Could be, and it's also teacher perception. So our data is based on how teachers respond to a question about their level of implementation, whether they felt like they were.
Can you pull the mic a little bit closer?
Or just developing.
Sorry, I couldn't hear most of that.
The data here is based on teacher perception. So it's their own perception of how well they think they are implementing the state standards. They were given the categories of responding in either developing, applying, or innovating.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like they don't feel very confident in their ability to do that.
Well, and it could be, but it can also be what we're attempting to find. Ms. Trinnell and I actually, about a year ago now, went and met with folks from the state regarding implementation of the Common Core and asking districts how they're measuring the implementation of it. And we look at it in a number of fronts. Ms. Larson would be able to talk about it in terms of instructional practice through what we use as an English learner walkthrough form and observations that are made. And so anytime you're using self-perception in terms of where those rates are at, because the other thing, the process that we're using is it's good, but it's certainly not perfect. We examine it all the time because it's open to interpretation what these mean. So that's the other piece with 3,100 teachers and asking them if they believe that they're at a level of innovating. That's assuming that we all have a common understanding of what that means. And so we need to continue to work at it. But in terms of where we're at, it isn't surprising to me where things are at right now because of the fact that a couple of things. One is you've got teachers who are still very new to curriculum. And I think our teachers are actually being very honest. It doesn't mean that the instruction, that what's happening in classrooms isn't high quality and that kids aren't engaged. But our teachers, we're still in the process of unpacking learning standards. We're getting used to a new state assessment system. There's new curricular materials where if you were an experienced teacher teaching for a number of years with certain materials or you're a brand new teacher, they're still getting used to it. So actually, what would be, I don't want to say concerning to me, but where questions could be raised, if what we saw is we saw very, very high levels of comfort right now, it could be really, is everybody that comfortable with everything that's that new? So I'm not dismissing what you're saying. We have to be very careful in terms of the strategies we're using to get the information. Our teachers, we work actually very carefully with EGEA leadership who supports us greatly, because the other thing is we want to make sure we're getting high levels of response rates from folks so that we can be assured that we have enough of our folks that are responding. But we'll continue to look at it. We don't want to continue also to change the tool that we're using from one year to the next. But it's a good question. It's something that we're focusing on. And ultimately, it's a combination, as we're looking at it, it's combinations of its self-reporting and self-perception. It's also walkthrough forms that we're using where we're getting evidence of other people going in and observing. And ultimately, the other thing that we're doing is with the walkthrough form, for example, we have strategies, and this is why the state was interested in what we were doing, because we have teachers' self-perception, we have what did you know prior to training, what do you know after training, and then we're looking at student outcomes. And so we're starting to see if there are trends between teachers saying, I was here, I'm now here, and kids are actually, we're seeing improvements in student performance. That's what we've been working at for a few years, and that's the direction we'll continue to move in.
Okay. More questions?
Yeah, just a quick follow-up. So based on some of the comments that we heard earlier for public comment, so when you're getting, so the charts here, this is all based on who submits information, it's a survey or whatever. It's whoever provides you the data, but it's not necessarily what may be happening out there in the community.
Yeah, so we survey our teachers, and our last year of data, we had 55% of teachers represented in these statistics. So we're constantly trying to improve our response rate. So it is the perceptions of the teachers regarding how they view they are implementing. We also, this is not the only question that we ask. There's a lot of other questions that could help in targeting different areas. For example, we asked about the familiarity. So they respond to a series of questions. We asked them, how familiar do you feel you are with the state standards? So we're also looking at that, because that's the first step to implementing the state standards, is to be familiar with it first. And then we also look at how often they implement the state standards in classrooms. So we're looking at a variety of different fronts to see how they are implementing things, not just their perception of that, but sometimes what they're saying they're doing every day.
What the teachers?
Yeah, so it's all perceptions from teachers. We also have other data regarding walkthrough forms that we can also look at and sort of try to triangulate what the data are saying.
I'll probably have more questions, but I'll reach out to you. I want to digest some of the comments that were made earlier and how it relates to this, because I do have concerns that were raised by pretty much all the parents that spoke this evening.
And remember, these are just the local measures.
But these
so there's
are
a whole lot more LCAP in which we could discuss
right.
those
So
concerns.
I'm going to see where it fits in, but I'll reach out to get some more information, and then if it's something that we need to share with the rest of the board. But otherwise, it's great information, and I do like seeing trends that are going up. But the bar is, for me, is always, let's go higher, let's go higher. So, but thank you.
Excellent. Thank you both very much. And next up, Ms. Kathy Hamilton will be presenting the LCAP local measures for Elk Grove Charter School.
Good evening again. I am here to introduce actually Mark Levine, the principal for Elk Grove Charter School, who will walk you through most of this report. It echoes very much the report that Christine just gave for the district as a whole. But as our dependent charter school, we're required to actually report out to the governing board on the specific local measures that Elk Grove Charter School has met. So just the same as Elk Grove, where? Okay, it's been taken over. So Elk Grove Charter School organizes its LCAP, there we go, around E4, just the same as the school district does, and uses the same strategic goals as the district for high quality instruction, assessment, data analysis and action, wellness, and family and community involvement. So at this point, I'm going to let Mark take over and walk you through how Elk Grove Charter School has met the same local indicators as Elk Grove Unified School District.
All right, good evening. Maybe my voice will carry, we'll see. All right, so the structure is exactly the same as Christine just presented to you. So as far as for Elk Grove Charter School and basic services, as far as teacher misassignments, we have zero instances of teacher misassignment. So across for English learners, total teachers, for vacant teacher positions, we don't have any vacant teacher positions. Also access to instructional materials, all students have access to instructional materials, so zero instances of students not having access. Also, as far as the facilities is concerned, we have zero instances of the facility not being in good repair. So those are all zeros, those are all good zeros. First time in my life, I think a zero was good. As far as teacher assignments, exact same graph that was broken down for the district. As far as courses, this looks a little bit different, and for independent study, this gets a lot trickier to facilitate because we have independent study teachers that are facilitating curriculum across all grade levels and all courses, not necessarily coursified. So you'd have a single teacher facilitating the entire curriculum across all grades to a single student. So this is where this gets a little bit more difficult. We've addressed that through what used to be called VPSS for highly qualified teachers. You could go through a course and become highly qualified in an alternative setting. And so that's where maybe some of the differences in the percentages here compared to the zero that we saw in misassignments would be. That their primary credential wouldn't be in English, but yet they've been through a VPSS course that would give them highly qualified status. Also, all of our curriculum and courses are developed by individuals and teachers that have the credential in that area. So every course has been developed by the credentialed teachers, supervised by credentialed teachers. And then every student has access to experts through the school's labs and such. So even if their independent study teacher isn't credentialed in that area, the student will have access to a credentialed teacher within the school's structure. All right. Going on to materials, we use Elk Grove Unified Materials, board adopted materials across the board, so those bars are all the way at the top. Same with facilities, we use an Elk Grove Unified Facility, so everything is great, fairly new. 2010 is when we moved into our current facility, so bars all at the top again. Moving on, in regards to state academic standards, we met that criteria category again. Same surveys based on perception. District survey administered to teachers in regards to their implementation of the standards. Once again, independent study makes this a little difficult as far as where teachers feel that their expertise lies. So if we look at this, we see overall that it's 77. So 2 years ago, 77% of teachers felt that they were developing or implementing standards, or they were aware of the standards. that moved to 88%, so that trend is moving up. But as you look across and you see absences and vacancies, these are low statistical numbers, 5 teachers the first year, 10 teachers last year. So it makes it a little hard to statistically analyze the data when you have such few numbers. And also when you look at some of the other courses like science, where I have a single science teacher that teaches in the classroom every day and other teachers that support them, they may have answered the survey saying, no, I don't feel very comfortable with these standards, but yet they may not be teaching it every day. So just some perceptions or some clarification may be needed with teachers as we move into this survey in the following years. Moving on to engagement, we've met this criteria as well. It focused on 2 main questions: opportunities for parent input to make decisions and parent involvement at the school. So we can mark that we met that. So we look at the data for that, primarily in 2016 and 17. 78% of parents who responded to the survey agreed that the school have been effective in providing opportunities for parents. And then also in 16-17, 75% of parents agreed that their school had been effective in providing parent involvement or parent education opportunities, which I think is extremely important, especially echoing some of the comments tonight, for parents to be educated on what's happening. That's hard. A little bit easier in a small school setting, for sure. As far as climate, we can say that we met that, once again based on surveys from students, parents, and staff. It focused on 4 areas: connectedness, climate of support, knowledge and fairness, discipline rules, and then lastly, safety. The data of that shows that overall 90% of parents felt overall a positive response to the school. 89% of staff and 74% of students overall were positive in the school. And then the highest level was connectedness, which shows similar percentages. 88% of parents said they felt connected, 88% of staff felt they were connected, and 65% of students felt they were connected. The benefit with a small school is 88% is I can figure out who that 12% is, who's not connected, so we can be targeted. As far as the school climate and school groups, such low numbers, it's hard to tell. The range went from 45% to 100% of students felt connected, whereas 2 or more ethnicities they indicated 2 or more felt 45%, or Filipinos felt 100% connected. These are student groups, diverse groups, down 1 to 5 students, so sometimes the data is hard to analyze, so that makes that tough. On the dashboards for LCAP, the requirement here, we are able to indicate within the dashboard that we have met all of these criteria, and we will report that into the dashboard, and I think I am done.
Some of you may know that Mark Levine and his staff do take advantage of some localized measures. They do survey their staff and their students and their parents frequently, and try to keep in touch with what's going on. Why are the students there? Leave. They do exit surveys to find out why they're leaving. So even though they've got a smaller group that they're dealing with, they do try to get to know who their folks are and what's working and why it's not working, by using both district measures and some of their own site development.
Thank you. Any questions from the board?
Just a couple of comments. Excellent report. I can tell you 100% of the parents and students I know have had very positive experiences and feedback. Both sides, the parents and the students, felt supported. And what I'm proud of our district is that we do have alternatives available for our students, because not every student can be in more of a traditional environment and don't thrive there, but they do thrive at Elk Grove Charter. So I just wanted to recognize your hard work and the teams, because again, families that I've talked to, students that I've talked to currently and past graduates, they've all had amazing experiences and have nothing but accolades. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I see no other questions. Thank you so much for the update. Thank you. So we do not have any budget or facilities updates today. Bargaining units, are there any bargaining units wishing to speak? Hearing none, moving on. We also have no report, so we are moving on to public hearing and action items. Mr. Pierce will present a resolution proposing to acquire certain real property and authorizing purchase of real property and acceptance of grant deed for additional acreage known as Center Parkway site.
Good evening. Thank you very much for your time. I can be brief. The board took action on September 19th, approving a purchase and sale agreement for approximately 1 acre of property at the southeast corner of the Valley High School current parcel. The item before you tonight is a procedural item that basically the board acknowledges 36 separate findings, some of which are mandates, some of which are requirements, and others are considerations that the California Department of Education would recommend that you take when you purchase property. I can assure the board that all 36 of the findings are accurate. They all pertain to adjacent land uses and hazards and other school siting criteria when it comes to public school sites. The suitability resolution is something that you adopt by practice for all of the school sites that we acquire. It's a little different in this case just because of the small size and the adjacency to an existing school. As you might recall, the acquisition was kind of a no-brainer for the district, and this is just, again, a procedural follow-up to that acquisition. And I would be happy to entertain any questions that you might have. And if you have none, open and close a public hearing.
Do we have any questions from the board? I'm going to call for a public hearing to receive comments on this item. And seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing and call for a motion to adopt resolution number 35, proposing to acquire certain real property and authorizing the purchase of real property and acceptance of grant deed for additional acreage.
That's so moved.
And a second? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Motion passes. Next up, under discussion action items, Mr. David Riley will present the proposed 2018-19 school year calendar.
Good evening, members of the board, Ms. Avalos. The attached 2018-19 calendar has been negotiated with the Elk Grove Educators Association as stipulated in the EGUSD-EGEA collective bargaining agreement. It has also been reviewed by the District Calendar Committee, which includes representatives of the Transportation Department, Food and Nutrition Services, Special Education, Pre-K 6, Secondary Education, Human Resources, EGA, and CSEA. The 2018-19 calendar is presented to the board for their consideration and approval. The Calendar Committee will begin working on the 1920 and 2021 calendars in subsequent months. The Board of Education is requested to review and approve the 18-19 school year calendar.
Okay. No questions, comments on that. Do I have a motion to approve the 2018-19 school year calendar? Moved by Ms. Albiani, seconded by Ms. Martinez-O'Leary. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Measure passes. Thank you much. Next up, under action items, is the establishment of the annual organizational meeting for the Board of Education. I believe I have to read all of this. So, under the provisions of Education Code Section 35143, the governing board is... Thank you. The governing board is required to set an annual organizational meeting between December 1st and December 15th, 2017. The day and time of the annual meeting are to be selected by the board at its regularly held meeting prior to the first day of this 15-day period. I'd like to call for a motion to establish the annual organization meeting of the Board of Education on Tuesday, December 5th, 2017 at 6 p.m. in the boardroom of the Trigg Education Center. Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Measure passes. Ms. Sandra Lowry is going to present regarding the approval of the 2017-18 annual site local control accountability plans.
Good evening again. I think I might be the last item, so I shall be brief. Thank you once again. The 2017-18 Site Local Control Accountability Plans serve as a site-based planning tool to facilitate the implementation and attainment of the Elk Grove Unified School District Local Control Accountability Plan. The site plans serve as a roadmap for school-based planning for the 2017-18 school year. and have been consolidated into a comprehensive plan that meets the requirements of a single plan for student achievement and the alignment of the site goals to our district's LCAP. Based on both the evaluation of 2016-17 performance data, current school data, school sites established performance targets for 17-18 and align the appropriate resources to meet goals, actions, and services in those plans. And so we're asking for your approval of those plans.
Any questions on that? Okay, I'm happy to entertain a motion to approve the 2017-18 Site Local Control Accountability Plans. Moved by Ms. Albiani, seconded by Mr. Madison. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Measure passes. Thank you, Ms. Lowry.
Thank you.
We are now up to board member and superintendent reports. Are there any members? Yes, Ms. Albiani.
Mr. Madsen, correct? And you were at the county, we were at the County Board of Education meeting. SCOE meeting?
Yes.
Yes, recently. A lobbyist spoke. He spoke on national items more than anything else. The takeaway I took was his optimism that he has established a relationship with our new Secretary of Education and has found them open to being educated. And so we always hear so much negative, and he still has found and established connections to teach and convey things about California and education and they are open to learning. So I think that was my biggest takeaway. Did you have anything to add?
No, I think you covered it all.
Anything else to add on other items from the floor, colleagues? Go right ahead.
All right, thank you. I attended 2 different forums.
Sorry, I misinformed you. We're still on board member superintendent reports.
Oh,
so
okay.
Any
Nope.
other reports? In that case, take
All
it
right.
away.
I did attend 2 different forums on racism, race relations. One was a private one at a church, and then the other was a city-hosted one. I do want to recognize Sanja Lowry and Zanthi for attending all of the city ones, and then Sanja, I know you were at the other one at the church as well. You know, a very eye-opening experience. We make a lot of assumptions in our daily lives, but until you walk a mile in someone's shoes, it's very easy to be blind of what our surroundings look like and what those experiences are. So, you know, I have a lot of takeaways that, you know, while we do great work, there's still a lot of work to be done. I appreciate a lot of our work as it relates to equity and the good work that's happening there. Is it enough? It's never enough. So there's a lot of reports that I heard from parents, school bullying, racism, a lot of it from the African American community, but I know that it's the Sikh community, the Muslim community, the Hispanic community, all faces similar issues in their own lives, and what that pain looks like in our schools. You know, I can't control what's happening out there in the streets of Elk Grove or in our community, but we do have a say of what it looks like in our schools and what we can do to mitigate that. So I don't have all of the answers, but these were eye-opening experiences. I will be having a meeting with our superintendent to look at what we can do. Our assemblies, our PBIS, our work in equity, those are all great efforts, but things are still happening. And I'm one for being proactive as opposed to reacting to something. You know, reacting is after the fact. We need to be proactive and provide those comfort to those parents, but mostly our students. There are reports of this truck that wanders the streets of Elk Grove terrorizing children.
Our students.
Our students. Our students home from school. And my son has seen this truck, so it's real. You know, my son has told me about this, waving a Confederate flag. And the parents telling us, the attendees, of the drivers and passengers yelling profanities and scaring them where their lives are threatened. This is a concern. So we can't turn a blind eye. We have so much to celebrate, but it can't be on the back of all that we still have to do work on. So I want to make sure that we're all aware of it because now that we're aware of it, we also have an obligation to do something. And as I shared with the parents, we truly can only act when we hear of things, of incidents. Reports and rumors are not facts. They may have a hint of facts, but we need to know when things are happening so we can help. So that was, again, it was very eye-opening. There's a lot. The excessive use of police force, that was also a common theme, and that's of concern. We've heard it here from several parents of what that looks like. In life, there are teachable moments for all of us, and I think with professional development, with proper training, there is no reason for our children to have these horrific first experiences with law enforcement. We have great opportunities to make that, to build relationships and build trust. So, you know, and those are areas that we can absolutely have a say in what that looks like and provide the resources. If this matters to us, we need to provide the resources so that we can get that training and that education. And I know budgets are tough, but you know, these are big issues that are, I imagine, important for everybody. On a great note, one of the events that I attended was the Parent-Teacher Home Visitation Project. It was a 20th anniversary, I believe, of this program. And it was great to see the celebration and the power of this program. And so proud that our district invests in that. I know that we heard parents of not having relationships with their schools. This program provides that sort of relationship. And while we're still in our infancy, I know that it's very successful and will continue to grow. And we will be able to establish those necessary relationships between the teacher, the school, and the parents and the students. And I am proud to say that I will be co-presenting with Ms. Lisa Lavasser at our upcoming CSBA conference on the power of the Parent-Teacher Project. And that is all I have for now.
Yeah, I just want to make a few comments, kind of follow what Bobby had mentioned about a little bit of professional development. What I heard tonight, and I think in our LCAP plan, we have a lot of work to do with professional development, and particularly the cultural responsive teaching in that area. And we have such an imbalance in this large district that our students' diversity versus our teachers and administrators is so far out of kill. And that has to be corrected. I know I've talked to the superintendent about it. And I think what we see right now is festering a little bit. And I just want to make sure that down the road that we're going to make every effort through our human resource connections, or what do we have to do to at least show the needle is moving in the right direction a little bit. Right now, I'm not really seeing that at all. And again, the law enforcement and the administrators at schools, they have to learn how to de-escalate problems and issues, and so we don't have a lot of these problems. I think some of these kids are troubled, but a lot of them aren't really bad kids, and we go a little too far with it. So I'm looking forward to working with the superintendent on that and seeing what we can do to correct a lot of that. And then on a positive note, I came out of the gate last week with the my community meeting, I should say, as one board member, and I got the opportunity to go to 2 harvest festivals, Isabel Jackson and Union House Elementary School, for my meetings, and just a tremendous turnout. I've never seen so many people at one time. As I mentioned to the superintendent, the challenge is I couldn't talk to all of them and to have some cross discussion. So I think if we brainstorm a little bit how we can kind of grapple with it and put our arms around it, I think we can have some pretty good discussions there, or meetings with, because again, I've been in the district a good while, and I was never faced with that many parents coming through the gates and kind of looking at me in a strange way, but coming over, and kids coming over. So it was really nice. Dorothy and Martin did a real fine job. I had a table, a booth, all my literature out, so it was a good thing. Thank you.
Glad to hear it went well. Do you have anything, Salviani?
I did my first community visit. I went to a coffee at Dillard Elementary, and it was very nice. I did not have a numerous people, but I definitely met the key players there at that school, and including Mr. Giordano and his wife, and had a chance to see quite a few of the staff as well. So it was a very good visit. I'm glad I made it.
Excellent. Looking forward to it. So I have just a couple of comments. First off, I want to piggyback on Mr. Allen's comment about the public forums on race that have been happening. So I also attended the October 3rd forum that was jointly hosted with the City of Elk Grove and the Cosumnes Community Services District. The public testimony was eye-opening and impactful, and I highly recommend anyone who hasn't had the opportunity to attend one of those to do so. I think I was aware before getting there that I enjoyed some degree of privilege, but it wasn't clear to me just how much that is until listening to the experiences of members of our community, parents of our students, who have consistently endured some really terrifying experiences based solely on the color of their skin. Often we hear reports, second or third hand or in the media about situations involving our students or taking place at our schools, and we know that that's only half the story, and we know that we are doing a lot as a school district, but I think the fear and the concerns expressed by our students and their parents are also a very important metric, along with the LCAP and everything else that we're doing on school climate. This is a broader discussion around the City of Elk Grove and beyond. So I really am looking forward to how we can look at our existing policies and practices and to see what we can do to do a better job in meeting the needs of all of our families, because school climate is so critical in making sure that we can deliver all of the other services that we want to deliver. So Ms. Allen, please, if I could join your meeting with the superintendent, I would love to do that. And on hopefully a more positive note, last weekend I took a couple days off, Friday and Saturday, and took the last 2 courses in the CSBA Masters in Governance program out of the 5 courses, so I'm now officially a MIG graduate. And I just want to recommend that to I know Miss Bobby Singh Allen is in the process of taking those courses, but to the rest of my colleagues, and Chet, if you've done it before, they do change them from, eventually, so they changed. So it's, given that we as a board have been more interested in our own professional development and our effectiveness as individuals and as a group, I think it just fits really nicely with a lot of the things that we already want to achieve. So I just would encourage you to look at that. And that is all that I have. So if we have nothing else, I'm going to declare this meeting adjourned at 8:45 p.m. Thank you all very much.